Welcome to Brawlhalla.
Yeah, I'm looking at the placements there. He has 4 top 32 placements total, 0 top 8 placements. Meaning, if he's able to win against Santy, who, by the way, is power ranked 4 at the moment in singles, really, really well placed and was favored there against Kozilek. MegD will get his first top 8 placement ever, and it will be on winner's side. So absolutely a wonderful performance. Let's see if they're able to come through as they're on Thor, Hammer, and Orb going against Santy, who of course is on the Asuri as we're going to Demon Island for game number 1. It's interesting. I love that North America has really evolved into Demon Island being the Mammoth Fortress of this year. We have gone to Demon Island for the first game in so many of these sets so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, because it's got all the main features of Mammoth Fortress. We're like, kind of average knockout zones. You know, there's not really any platforms to get in the mix. It's not like Miami Dome or Small Enigma where you have a lot of those up there. Oh my gosh, MegD with just about a 35-second knockout over Santy. All right, this is kind of huge. MegD's been popping off this weekend.
Yeah, MegD's solid start over Santy. Let's see, and you know, I have to keep reminding myself, he knocked out Java 3-1 just after this. And Java is definitely no slouch of a player after what we saw from the last seasonal championship. So MegD's really bringing in the heat going into game 1 in this matchup against Santy. And already, whoa, that was like 4 or 5 Orb and Nairs in a row, bringing Santy, and Orange just juggling him constantly with those jabs, tacking out the damage and bringing in the extra credit. Santy hitting him off stage, but still not being able to get the stock. As Asuri, unlike Val, doesn't have any of those crazy dip down sword signatures that might be able to take advantage of MegD in that position. Oh, but the weapon roll could make up for it, but that recovery was really well steered.
All right, Santy, he managed to tie up the stocks, but man, he took so much damage in the process. Now, Santy did take 5th place in the Winter Championship, so definitely looking to have another top 8 placement, but MegD, it's this wall of Thor in front of him.
Yeah, it's definitely unexpected for Santy as far as the matchup that he was expecting to see here. Oh, he falls out that side air right into the willing hands of MegD, going like, oh, you're going to land with a side air with no jumps? Let me just sidelight side air you myself. Orb, so great at being able to punish those landings and take the stock. It's definitely Orb's bread and butter when it comes to finishing off stocks. And oh man, we see there MegD going for the other option after the sidelight, getting the downlight, hitting him upwards, tacking on more damage than he would have gotten if he just knocked him away. And that neutral light on that landing means that MegD's on the verge of a 2-stock over Santy in game number 1. Oh, but Santy fighting back off stage with the guitars, but then he's disarmed, and now he's one hammer side air away from doom.
MegD definitely hunting. He wants to close this out. The scoop, not yet enough. There's a little bit taller of a ceiling. That's one of the main differences, you know, between this and Mammoth Fortress. The walls are incredibly short, and I think the players really favor that now because they're just like, all right, yeah, I want that stage control to mean something, and it does with the stomp into side air as MegD takes game number 1 over Santy.
Yeah,
in a commanding performance, too.
Takes game number 1, nearly has double the damage that he took. All on Thor, which honestly is a legend that I consider people picking because of the defensive capabilities, not the offensive capabilities. So being able to see him conserve that much damage while being on a very tanky legend is very impressive. Santy, banning out a bunch of stages. We're going over to Apocalypse for game number 2. Very quick stage striking and same legends as we're moving forward.
All right, it's Apocalypse. There's one extra platform in the mix. It's going to move around on the top there. But the walls, about twice the size of Demon Island.
We're slowly transforming into Mammoth Fortress, right? Every game
Are
is
you
mutating.
Saying next game we're gonna get to Mammoth Fortress,
yeah,
and then are we gonna pendulum back?
Demon Island is the stage. Now we've added the platform. It moves a little bit, but Mammoth Fortress, that's Brawlhalla. We're almost there. Anyways, the game for game number 2 on Apocalypse is between Santy and MegD, and Santy is behind in damage, but seems to be taking a little bit of the momentum back from the previous game. Let's see if MegD is able to take. He's been punishing so many of these landings and sidelight openers from Santy with the Orb sidelight. But Santy was able to get in, get the neutral light as it catches MegD jumping. Let's see what Meg's able to get.
Again, catching him jumping. Katars, they've got 2 really good anti-airs. That neutral light, if you're looking to cover some space and maybe account for some dodges. Oh, and that down light, which can go into the recovery. The 45-degree catch. And Santy now with the stock lead for game number 2.
Let's see, Santy diving with the down air. Gets punished by MegD, but MegD's not able to get the stock just yet. I think if he gets the stomp first, that's a side air knockout. Now it's definitely a side air knockout no matter what. But I'm sure he's going to be looking for that stomp. He's not going to be playing like Cody Travis where he's just side airing alone. The barbarian, right? How side airing with hammer before stomping.
Oh, just plucked off the wall with that hammer recovery. So we're just right back in it. This match has been insanely close.
MegD opening up with all the orb nairs, keeping Santy on his toes, then finally landing with a side air. Santy fighting back with the sword. Nair and down air go wide between both players as they're looking for that first neutral win. And MegD with the down light catches him off guard. Gravity cancel silent, but no jumps left to continue the string. Still gets the damage in and starts to take a small lead as this. Oh, I thought he was going to down air, but he goes for the side air instead. If you bounce the down air off the ground at the right angle, it almost acts like a silent or a side air in terms of the range that it gets off the bounce. You can do so much with an orb down air depending on how careful you are with the spacing.
Santy just trying to control the ground, able to catch MegD's landings. Again, those Qatar anti-airs coming into play.
Weapon throw forward, picks up the orb. Goes to the grave, gets a sidelight, and that means no dodge for another 2 seconds. He gets it back now, but Santy was counting at the same rate that MegD was. It gets that gravity cancel neutral light, the classic sword edge guard for anybody dodging in to touch the stage. And he gets him off the left side of the stage and takes the lead once again and continues to tack on the damage.
Yeah, there's been really great awareness of dodge and dodge cooldown between these two players. MegD used it for that orb string because he saw Santy dodge in the air, which meant, hey, air dodge cooldown, that's like 3 seconds that you're just kind of left hanging. And that's why he was able to turn it into just about like that 4-hit string for a ton of damage. Santy, likewise, said, hey, MegD, you spent your gravity cancel? All right, I can just kind of time you out on the edge, cover your next dodge coming in, because it's not going to come back any sooner than that.
Oh, Santy is really running away with this game here. He's already hit MegD with so many guitar attacks. Sidelight Sider's not even enough to even up the stocks, let alone the damage, and with that down air whiffing. Okay, Santy didn't get the nair punish after the dash jump pivot down air, and MegD was able to get the sider, so the stocks are evened up, but man, that's it.
Yo, claws?
Yeah.
Just claws to cover the dodge. Santy firing back for a convincing game 2. So game 1, definitely MegD's favor. Game 2, definitely Santy's favor.
Let's see if we get the full stage transformation going into game 3. Has the
going
prophecy spoken? Are we going to Mammoth Fortress?
Oh, and we've got a legend swap, a little bit of a spoiler for you folks watching at home. There you see now MegD over onto the Fate.
Of course. Of course, it only makes sense that we go to Mammoth Fortress.
Of course.
We are building our way there. There was Demon Island,
complete.
Then the meteor hit, wiped out the dinosaurs, and then slowly over time, grass grew back, and now we're here with a battle between Santy and MegD. Mammoth Fortress platform now on the left and right sides of the stages, depending on where it feels like going at the time. And the first weapon goes over to MegD as Santy picks up a sword.
So now MegD, you mentioned before he was playing Thor and was able to keep damage pretty low in the first game. In the second game, the defense, I don't know how much purchase he was able to get off of it. So it looks like now he's traded all those points in defense for points in force. Fate,
yes,
an absolute powerhouse.
And I would argue a much more aggressive signature kit when it comes to getting reads off of dodges. I would say that Thor's signature kit, the moves are a lot more laggy. They're more attuned to recovering or repositioning, whereas Fate, you could argue that her neutral sig on orb, when not charged, is as fast as a light attack. It's got a very small window where it actually hits. But if used correctly, it can get some very, very early knockouts.
Yeah, and you see him going for that down signature, just trying to do the corner guard. So definitely a diverse kit for a ton of different uses. MegD went for the weapon starve, opted to stay with the orb. Got a fair bit of damage onto Santy, but he can't relax just yet.
And there's the neutral sig that I was talking about earlier coming out twice, but Santy playing around it very intelligently. Nair's on the way back to the stage, picks up the guitars, immediately puts out the recovery, but MegD gets the orb, side airs him away. Who's going to get the first stock here? Oh, he jumps up, but the platform betrays his orb down air edge guard, bouncing off the platform itself.
Yeah, he definitely just let go down there because, you know, it's similar to like the bow down air where you've got the option to choose. If you keep holding the down directional, you'll just kick it right through the platform. You'll get the full aerial down air. But you can actually let go and have it bounce off the platform.
That is a good thing to note. That's something that I have forgotten about. And that is cool because that means that MegD had the option to do either or. Santy now with the sword, trying to jump around, get the slider, and the first stock goes over to him. Wow, that was a 2-minute-long stock of both players hitting each other with every light attack possible before finally getting the killing blow. Santy taking the lead and now looking for all the extra credit that he could get.
Oh, again, these anti-airs. Santy doing a phenomenal job. Extra credit on this stock for sure.
Oh, it might be more than that if that grab pound connected. Oh, no, Santy didn't touch.
All right. He kind of bet it all there. I mean, that would either be a stock or Santy surrenders, one that he was already the barbecue sauce color on. Like, his stock was just a breath away from being taken anyhow, so I respect the attempt.
Oh, man, Santy goes up with the side air. He's had so much extra damage here on this stock. Let's see what MegD is able to do. As the game has slowed down, MegD has been having a harder and harder time punishing Santy, as Santy has really is putting MegD to play at his pace, recovery off the top, and that stock came down in just about the same amount, actually in half the time the first stock went down, only being a minute there, and now MegD is super far behind. Santy might not want to go for those crazy offstage plays once again, but the recovery of the downlight is just so much damage and showing how great Santy's been with his guitars so far in this matchup.
Now trying to jockey for some extra precision. Oh no, the weapon toss gone. MegD rotating over, couldn't deny the weapon.
Oh, ground pound.
Quick little exchange. Ground pound versus recovery. Santy just edging a little bit past. Now MegD with the stage control. Yep, catches the landing, ties up the stocks.
Okay, this game is really big. It's currently 1-1. We're on Mammoth Fortress here for game number 3. If Santy or MegD take it, they'll bring it to match point, where they'll only have to win one more game to get in the winner's side top 8. MegD definitely looking forward to taking an upset over the 4th seed in the tournament, as well as getting his first top 8 placement in history, recorded history on the statistics, at least.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, MegD definitely breakout performances this weekend and looking to just continue that trend.
Sidelight catches the landing. MegD's bringing it back. He goes for the down airs. No down sigs to the edge this time. He wasn't able to get too much off of it. We haven't seen him use the side sigs just yet. Or is he going to go for the neutral sig edge guard? No, he is perfectly content, hitting only sidelights and side airs until the game's won. Sidelight, side air comes through, disarms Santy, goes over to deny the weapon, holds on to the bad orb, but I imagine he was like, he didn't know if it was going to be orb or scythe, so he just wanted to make sure that he had the weapon currently, but the delay recovery hits. And that's the punishment for holding on to the bad orb. He already took so much damage with it because one delayed down air hits. He's disarmed, now has to wait for a new spawn. Downlight into the recovery, not enough on unarmed, and he throws the scythe to the stage. Oh man, the nerves are hitting. MegD flubbing, tosses the scythe away. Santy, weapon starving.
Oh, this is dangerous now. Santy, you see him showing that gravity cancel down light. He's hunting for that knockout. He wants to recovery, anything like that. The neutral light just sending MegD wide, denying the weapon yet again.
MegD.
The bottom edge of the slap, and Santy now up 2-1 in the set. Incredibly tense final stock there.
He was tense in a way that I haven't seen in a while, and we can tell that MegD realizes how close he is, right, to his first top 8 placement, because there was a number of decisions where just a little bit of calm thinking could have saved MegD from being in the position that he was in. One, switching over to the broken orb, right? He went to weapon start, but he didn't hold on to the better orb. He held on to the worst one. So it only took 2 hits for the orb to get knocked out of his hands. And then when he went for the scythe weapon throw back onto the stage, he accidentally hit the edge of Mammoth Fortress, tossing the scythe off the stage and forcing him into the scenario where he had nothing to fight with. It was so close. MegD was bringing it back, but at the very end, thinking to weapon starve, ended up starving himself and giving Santy the edge necessary to win in that game number 3. Santy now 1 game away from getting into winner's side top 8 and knocking MegD into the lower bracket.
Yeah, you see that, the damage per engagement so incredibly close, but Santy able to get just a little bit more. MegD trying to make it work Just taking a little bit more damage per stock, and man, it really just all came down to the positional errors at the tail end of that game.
Yeah.
A lot of those weapon tosses that just completely missed, or the wrong weapon, it wasn't the optimal play there, and Santy was able to take advantage.
Yeah, very rarely, in fact, do I see small flubs like that when it comes to weapon management. Actually, I determine the outcome of the game. But those were one of those few scenarios where I was like, oh, wow, that's why it's worth thinking about these things, because if you don't manage your weapons correctly and you don't pay attention to where your position is relative to your weapon throw, you could very well lose the game in a last stock scenario. So now MegD, back against the wall, has to win 2 games in a row to get into the winner's side of top 8 against Santy. And this matchup has been very, very close. Santy has had the lead for the bulk of the time for the last 2 games, but in game number 3, it very well came down to a last hit scenario where Santy just barely was able to win with an offstage side air. We're going into game number 4. I wonder if it's going to be Mammoth Fortress all the way out, or if we're going to continue to get some differences in the stage picks. I see that MegD is still sticking with the fate going into game number 4. And bans out
Both
Mammoth.
of them. Okay. It's Apocalypse. We're penduluming back towards Demon Island. If we get a game 5, game 5 is going to be Demon Island, right? That's just how it's got to work.
I have to say that you're correct, TWK, because as far as arbitrary analysis
The
goes,
trend would dictate.
Yeah.
So MegD staying on this fate, and Santy obviously using the Apex Predator skin for Surrey, because he's looking like the Apex Predator right now. He's on set point, ready to head into top 8, doesn't want to let up on this gas, had the advantage for so long at the tail end of last game.
Yeah, and I'm only guessing here, I can't say for sure how the players feel, but if tournament nerves had anything to do between these 2 players, Santy has the upper hand, being a player that has been in so many top 8 qualifier positions before, whereas MegD is definitely fresh to being this far into the bracket. So let's see how game 4 plays out here, as MegD's 1 game away from being knocked in the lower bracket after that crazy upset on Java, and Santy is just trying to defend the title of being a power-ranked 4th player.
Man, you see MegD just kind of dash jump fast falling in to try and catch. Ends up getting just like an orb neutral light, but man, Santy's anti-airs every time have been stymieing this dash jump approach, whether it's, you know, the neutral light or the down light. But now MegD's got the stage advantage. The corner guard doesn't even need it. Sent him too far. Santy falling down pretty early. MegD, that little bit of breather time that he had, seems to really have paid off to calm those nerves.
Yeah, it definitely seems so. And what I'd like to see, what I've liked that I have been seeing from MegD's gameplay are these side airs, like these delayed falling side airs, both on Apocalypse and on Mammoth when the platform's on the position, or it's at the edge of the stage. He'll use it to do a falling side air and catch Santy as they're on their way back from an original side air to take the stock and get rid of all their jumps, so he doesn't even have to worry about the edge guard. Really great job from MegD so far. That side air, however, the same one that ended MegD's last stock in game number 3, ends his first stock in game 4, and Santy evens up these stocks.
Man, Santy went so high, even charging that weapon toss, and it just didn't even really matter because MegD was able to get in, get the weapon before Santy because Santy went so high up, and then Santy still caught his sword on the way down.
Ooh, Santy getting down aired off the right side of the stage, but MegD not want to push it any further. We haven't seen MegD primary the scythe too much in this matchup against Santy. It's been a majority of the time on orb. But let's see what he's able to do here. He's not throwing the weapon away. He doesn't want to reset this yet, but he might with that spawn. Yep, that spawn comes in. He's like, okay, side light, toss it away. You've done good, Scythe. He dodges the side air, gets the downer on Santy. This could be the stock.
He touched. He's got his options, but man, MegD hammering him home time and again. Oh, and the perfect snipe out. Slide kick into ground pound, giving MegD the stock advantage.
That is...
We're on track for game 5.
That is the dream orb edge guard coming in from MegD right there, right? Being able to hit the down air at the side of the stage, catching that recovery. And it's such a counter to guitar recovery in particular, because guitar recovery, you can't steer the angle that it comes in. And when you bounce orb down air against the stage, you're safe while your opponent is in danger of getting hit by the move. So he's able to hit it 3 times in a row, gets the D-Light ground pound unarmed to finish off the stock, and is now in the lead as more and more damage goes on to Santy, as Santy struggles to find any hits onto MegD's second stock.
Santy again looking for these guitar slaps. Needs to take the stock now. Yes, perfect. Off the back of that recovery before too much damage was done. Now you see this weapon starve going again. And MegD able to knock Santy away, get an orb back for himself.
Oh, sidelight hits. Oh, and this is the beginning. Santy is really starting to attack on the damage to MegD, and MegD's in that position once again where he realizes I just have to take one last stock. I go to game 5. Sidelight Cider. Can he get that Cider that we've seen so much? No, the falling Nair hits, but Santy reverses it.
Oh.
Cider to downlight, attacks some more damage, and MegD doesn't want to go off stage against Santy's guitars. Santy comes back onto the stage, but the Sidelight Cider sends him so far. MegD primes an orb. That time it's correct to throw the scythe away if orb's what he wants. Even if it's damaged, the Sidelight Cider comes through one more time.
Oh.
One last Sidelight Stare, and MegD is bringing it to a game 5. He's been getting so many of these to connect, and Santy is unarmed.
Managed to thread the needle, get under that neutral signature. Oh, but MegD, those falling side airs that you love so much.
Yeah, and has a massive damage differential on that game. Coming up with over 100 damage dealt over Santy. MegD brings it to a game 5. MegD on the verge of an amazing upset. I'm pretty sure MegD's seed was like 56 or something like that. Like, he is so far from being a top 8 placing player in the past, and he might just break in. After defeating the surprise performance from Java in Winter Championships, now it's going to be MegD going into game 5 here against Santy.
MegD with 51 damage per engagement. That's
huge.
Massive.
Yeah, that's huge. We've been seeing on average anywhere between 17 to 38, I think. I'm just putting it in the ballpark. To see a damage average above 50 is huge. He's really capitalizing off of every hit that he gets. Game 5 coming up.
Oh, all right. Nope. We teeter all the way back towards Mammoth Fortress. But Santy, a very big swap over onto Petra.
Oh, that is interesting. And getting a confirmation from production that MegD's indeed seed 20. So much higher than I projected, but still not so high as to justify getting in the top 8 winner side, right? Like, he hasn't got any of those top 8 placements yet. And his seed, this will do wonders for his seed if he's able to take off this game against Santy, who has now been forced onto a pocket pick Petra off the Asuri. As we've got Orb versus Orb, Gauntlets versus Scythe, going into game number 5 on Mammoth Fortress.
Yeah, this is interesting because, you know, before we rolled into this final match, I did see Santy kind of lock in the Ragnir for a brief moment, and then I guess thought better of it and was like, no, you know what? Let's get rid of the guitars entirely. We're going to match him on the orb, and I'm going to get those gauntlets in the mix.
MegD doing a surprising amount of work on a scythe opening up against the orb here. And I'm wondering if this weapon pick is actually just matchup dependent. There are so many players, myself included, who don't particularly like playing the Ditto, whether it be a Legend Ditto or a Weapon Ditto. So it could very well just be that he likes having Scythe against Orb, but now we're seeing Orb versus Orb. Scythe comes through, nice punish from Santy, gets a quick Nair, backs out, and punishes the Neutralite that MegD put out as well, as the Orb's just doing a ton of work for Santy here in game number 5. Sidelight Cider's it. That's it. A beautiful conversion. That would definitely do well for Santy's damage per engagement right there.
Now Santy covering the corner, leaving the weapon there is a little bit of a trap. Oh, tried to trigger it with that uppercut, but man, MegD just too quick.
Misses the recovery up the down light. I wonder if that would have even knocked out. Fate's pretty hard hitting. That's on the top platform. That could have been the stock, but the side air will do it, and MegD doesn't take too much damage off of whiffing that follow-up. Evens it up 2-2.
All right, now that Santy's unarmed, MegD favoring the orb in the weapon tosses there.
Okay. Santy goes over that Nair, just barely misses getting hit by the orb Nair himself, and MegD
just
guarding the weapon.
the eyebrows.
Using that Neutralite to cover the space over the weapon. Santy picks up the orb, and now downers and downlights are being exchanged, but Santy wins that neutral exchange. MegD goes back, avoids one downer. We were talking about that earlier, right? Santy is doing that a lot more than MegD does, where he does a jumping fastfall down air so that it bounces off the stage and reaches further than an orb side light or side air would have reached. Really getting the most out of that bounce.
Ooh, Santy's so good at playing this footsies game. He just has
that's it.
the understanding of the range, caught the recovery. Now he's got a hefty lead, and this is game 5.
Game 5, Santy giving MegD a taste of his own medicine with the orb play, and MegD picking up the scythe, gets a neutral, and that's it as Santy starts to pile it on the extra credit. Santy one stock away from winner side top 8, and he's doing great as that downlight sidelight hits. With the downer comes through, weapon throw forces the dodge, dive kick, ground pound. That's the stock, and MegD pulls out a miracle as he's able to get the amazing edge guard onto Santy, gets the dodge, picture perfect punish unarmed, and we're now one stock apiece, and MegD's got the orb versus Santy's orb. Now Santy's getting the upper hand on these sidelight side airs when it comes to these landings, and there's the first of many. Santy with another side air. Does he go for the down air as well? No, MegD gets through the recovery, but he has so much more damage to do if he wants to be able to even it up. It's so close.
Yeah, I think where Santy has really been excelling on stage, you know, catching MegD with the footsies, those falling side airs, the side lights to get things started, MegD has really excelled off stage. I think so many times, so good at catching Santy as he returns to the wall and sniping out with those gravity cancel downlight into ground pounds unarmed.
Oh man, MegD's just keeping away with the downers. This is like my favorite tense moment of any set. Oh, the sidelight sider comes through. He goes for the slide charge side stick. MegD cannot afford getting hit by sidelight sider on the side of the stage. Once again, he has to hold center. That sider hitting there is fine, but he's now taking so much damage that Petra is strong enough that he'll be gone at the hand of one Sayer. He dodges up, the neutral light connects. MegD so low on jumps, has to dodge through, touches the stage.
Made it.
But even an orb neutral light would do it. MegD can't get hit again, and Santy just throwing out blast after blast, dodge gone, stock deleted. Santy celebrates as he barely wins game number 5 over MegD.